Citizen Watch shines a spotlight on government activity. Lawmakers are dealing with accusations that a culture of sexual harassment has gone unchecked in Springfield for years. One state senator faces calls to resign as well. Ira Silverstein has denied allegations made against him by victims' rights advocate Denise Rothheimer. She noted there is no one to investigate her case and other cases as well. And that's because the Office of Legislative Inspector General has been vacant for nearly 3 years. Despite that, House Speaker Michael Madigan says the Illinois Legislative Ethics Commission continues to function. You could read much more about this story right now by the watchdog group Better Government Association. Here to talk more about this very issue, too, from the BGA is Bob Sector, the Director of Investigations. Welcome.
Good to be here.
So you decided to go ahead and take a look at this issue. First of all, it unfolded so quickly with the sexual harassment investigation, accusations that are happening in Springfield, and really the lack of investigation that took place. Explain what happened here.
Well, first of all, this is happening in a climate that goes well beyond Springfield. But in this case, there are these type of issues crop up from time to time, and there's a mechanism for people in Springfield, whether they be lobbyists or state employees, legislative employees, to file complaints. The problem is there's an ethics commission, but the ethics commission doesn't have the power to actually investigate anything. So you need an inspector general who reports to that ethics commission to actually do the groundwork. And there hasn't been an inspector general for almost 3 years. And so in this flurry of interest in sexual harassment, which has erupted around the country in the last few weeks, some allegations also came to the fore in Springfield. And then the pressure was on the leadership in Springfield to explain to do something why nothing was done. Well, they can't do anything because there's no inspector general. Why is there no inspector general? Well, that's a more complicated issue. But in the midst of this, Mike Madigan, the very powerful House Speaker, testifies before a committee hearing, which he hastily arranged to address the subject, and said the Ethics Commission continued to function. And that's sort of akin to you take your car into the shop, they put it up on the blocks, and you rev the engine's going, but the car isn't moving because it's immobilized.
Yeah, you said his comment is mostly false.
Yes, and it's because it's only technically true. It lacks context. You can complain. These complaints can gather dust, but the complaining aspect doesn't do you any good unless there's somebody to actually vet the veracity of that claim and make recommendations about whether something should be done about it or not done about it.
So there was a flurry of activity after all of this came to light. Legislators were very busy at that point trying to make sure they hired an inspector general and the process. And have they done enough at this point?
Well, they have very quickly hired a temporary inspector general. It remains to be seen whether she's going to have the resources and the time and the energy. She's only part-time to actually investigate this long backlog of complaints that don't necessarily all involve sexual harassment, but there are complaints gathering dust. And just remember, as we're looking at all these sexual harassment complaints that span not just politics, but Hollywood and everywhere else, that the President of the United States was accused by multiple women of doing similar things, and he was still elected.
It'll be interesting to see how this particular Inspector General position unfolds. Thank you very much, Bob. Appreciate it. So you can read more BGA articles at bettergov.org. We're also posting a link on our website at abc7chicago.com.